Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative.
All leads back to control. The government controls what we eat. They control what we think. They control what we feel. And then we wake up one day and be like, damn, I got...
Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative.
But isn't that American dream? That American dream is... Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality.
Q9, my futon, hold it up and smoke it. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for.
It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically, it's the
we got this.
So
Revolution.
Winner's frosty hand. Muhammad is the famed name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors' jealousy.
Because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think all friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from mistakes. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say. Grand Risings, and welcome back to another episode of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal. We're excited to have you join us on this journey of thoughtful discourse and community engagement. The Urban Conservative is proudly sponsored by the Leon Block Network, an organization committed to promoting transparency, truth, and accountability in our media landscape. Here at the Urban Conservative, our mission remains steadfast: to bring you the latest news directly from the streets, addressing critical topics such as gun violence, crime, politics, and perhaps most importantly, exploring solutions to the profound challenges our communities face. As we embark on this third season, the focus is clear. It's time to actively contribute to the transformation of our communities for the better. How can we achieve this? The answer lies in a multifaceted approach that starts with reconnecting with our core family values. Strengthening our sense of community is paramount, fostering bonds that transcend the barriers that often divide us. Moreover, it involves embracing our foundational roots, recognizing the historical and cultural threads that weave through the fabric of our society, In this season, we're calling for more than words. We seek action. It's a plea to move beyond mere rhetoric and engage in tangible, impactful initiatives that contribute to positive change. The time for empty words has passed. Now more than ever, we need to put our convictions into action. Together, united by a common purpose, we can make a substantial and lasting difference in the well-being of our communities. So join us on this journey as we explore not only the challenges, but also the opportunities for growth and progress. Together, let's turn our shared vision for stronger, safer, and more connected communities into a reality. Thank you for being a part of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal, a platform dedicated to fostering change and making a positive impact on the world around us. Shut up and help. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. As you see, I have the title, and a lot happened yesterday. I don't think people fully understand the consequences of elections. I don't think people understand the consequences of lies, of pandering, and Floyd's legacy under fire, Minnesota startling reversal on student rights. And I say that because, you know, May 25th, 2020 opened my eyes to a lot of things. And just to see what happened yesterday and even some of the comments from state legislators that have been made, it just really tripped me out because it was so if people don't understand, we have 74 districts. And wait. No, it's not. 132. I think it's 60. I don't know. It's some, but we have 132 state legislators. And that breaks it down for 2 every district. So you have 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 4B. And it was 124 to 8. And only 8 Democrats voted no. And it really just trips me out because it's like we were out here in these streets. People have lost family members, have lost their business, their livelihoods, their futures over politics. And I say over politics for the simple fact of that we've been told and we're continually told that prone restraints are bad. We've seen that with George Floyd, and that's the reason why I'm bringing this up, for the simple fact of I feel like we're in a cycle of bullshit, right? A cycle of bullshit because we're told prone restraints are bad, right? But why then all of a sudden during an election year they are writing legislation to repeal those, right? Because they're just not stopping with the schools, right? Because they have a bill right now, HF 4048, that is literally has to do with doing prone restraints back in prisons, which they have taken out years ago. And it's crazy because I brought up, I want to show y'all something real quick because this really, really tripped me out. And wow, yeah. So this is a Republican legislator in Minnesota, Walter Hudson, and he says, "What was it all for? A slim minority who never missed a chance to tie a George Floyd memorial milestone around every cop's neck, tore their robes, and gnashed their teeth for months, impeding the governor from keeping his promise of a quick fix. And for what? 124 to 8. Right? So you have some state legislators that came out and was like, thanking people. So I said, so police can't do prone restraints on adults, but they can do them on kids, which allegedly killed George Floyd. So how does this help us? So let's go to the replies. Actually, we're hearing a bill in public safety tomorrow, which is today, that restores the reasonable use of force standards for corrections. So, and I said, that still doesn't answer how it helps. How can it be bad for adults, but okay for kids? Walter Hudson says, it's not bad for adults. That's the point. It never was. Somebody's TC teacher said that, sir, is some quiet shade. I said, I gotta say, Walter had me speechless on that statement, and that's rare. I said, yep. Now they said, yep. And so this person said Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose. That's why. That for me was really some big statements from Walter, for the simple fact of I didn't even know that they were going this heavy at the prone restraints. And for especially how much money has been paid out from Minneapolis, St. Paul, from the Department of Corrections, from jails, that they would even be thinking of allowing prone restraint in. Because for me, this is the thing for me, right? Does this change anything in the Derek Chauvin case, right? Does it change anything? And I think people really, really need to look at that, because we've seen Nor's shit get overturned and he got out early. So is that going to happen for Chauvin? Are they going to do a little bit of time and then get out on a technicality, some bullshit that these people, because the crazy part of it, who wrote HF Bill 3489 was Cedric Frazier, a black man who literally, I've literally heard this man speak, especially when it came to Dante Wright, and said that he had nephews, that he had sons himself. And again, I heard that numerous times from April Graves, other Democratic, minions, elected officials, whatever you want to call them. And yet they do things like this. To me, it's a slap in the face, because I feel like every time we take a step forward, it's always like we're taking steps way the fuck backwards, right? Because if it was that, here's the thing of it is, why I feel like they're just fucking playing head games at the end of the day, because why literally do all that shit last year, right? And then go through all the turmoil for the last whatever months, and then just say, oh, you know what, it's not that bad, all during an election year, because they know that some districts are going to be tough fights, right? They know they're going to be tough fights. It's not going to be easy wins in some districts in this legislative session. Then while I'm speaking about that, it is Super Tuesday. If you do live in Minnesota, you can go vote. It is the primary, Democrat and Republican. So if you are voting Democrat, you got a chance to go vote for Dean Phillips, Joe Biden, whoever else is in the Democratic primary, or you can do uncommitted. Also, Republican primary, you got Donald Trump, you got DeSantis, Nikki Haley. I'm just telling people to go out and vote. I'm not telling you to go who to go vote for. If you are a Democrat, please, I would say go vote. uncommitted. I think giving anything to Clueless Joe is a fucking shame. And if you are voting in the Republican primary, I say vote Trump. And I know people are like, what the fuck? Listen, we live in a two-party system. And until we were able to change legislation and policies when it comes to, and people are better educated when it comes to civics and how policies and all that works. Because right now, I just feel like we're running out here with our heads cut off because we'll never can outbeat a system that is always outbeating us, right? Because we're always trying to catch up. And again, that's part of the problem because every time something happens, we're playing catch up. Why is that? We shouldn't have to be playing catch up when it comes to legislation and policies. When how can it be all of a sudden it was bad and then now it's good, all because it's an election year? You know, all because they want to get in good with law enforcement. Like, what is it? Like, you guys are really fucking confusing. You guys say defund the police, right? You say you want police accountability. That's not what you're showing me. That's not what you're showing the community, right? And at the end of the day, I don't know what the fix is, right? I will say this, that I don't believe when it comes to the SO, when it comes to school resource officers, this isn't even about them being in the buildings, right? This is about them being able to put kids put their knees on their necks, to be able to put them face down on the floor, right? To hold them in a position where that potentially could do some harm to them. Not only just physically, but mentally, emotionally. And we don't think about shit like that, right? Because not all these children that or even adults that are that have gone through prone restraints or MRT, they haven't came out in good situations. I think about Zoya Code. I think about John Pope. You know, those are two cases that people are living that we literally have seen in prone positions that wasn't needed at all. So what are they showing us? Because they told us that no-knock warrants were bad, but they haven't got rid of those, right? That's what I want people to think, man. These people sit there and they lie and pander. And honestly, they think we're stupid. Literally, that's what I literally think about. I think about the, they say this is about prevention. Well, show me this is about prevention, right? Because not only are you allowing prone restraints back on children, but you're also allocating more money for training. Like, come on, man, what the fuck are y'all doing? It's always got some kind of money attached to the shit, right? And then you sit there and hold on, because I want to sit there and I want to play a video from Carrie Levin. They just ran I think it just ran a couple days ago, maybe last night. But they talk about the bill, and I want people to listen to what is being said, because I think it is really important to listen to what and this shit ain't out of my mouth. This is out of kids and some state legislators. So let's listen.
So this week, a student brought a stolen gun to St. Paul's Central High School. It is the fourth time this has happened in the district this year. This news brings the topic of school safety and the debate over school resource officers back to the surface. And that debate is front and center at our state capitol right now. Let's jog your memories for a moment. Last August, a new state law went into effect barring officers from using certain kinds of restraints when breaking up fights or bringing unruly students under their control. But some police officers spoke up and said that law is too vague, and it made them liable for excessive force lawsuits and criminal charges, they claim. So at least 40 law enforcement agencies across our state then pulled their school resources out of schools in a matter of weeks at the start of the 2023 school year. So that brings us to now, where lawmakers kicked off the session Monday with a proposal to fix this law, exempting officers from the restraint restrictions, adding training around mental health, and creating statewide standards so there's a uniform code here. And as this fixed bill gets its second hearing tonight, community groups and law enforcement alike still aren't saying this is perfect. John Croman, you take it from here.
Well, Jana, Democrats are in a tough spot here. They want to make it clear that using prone restraints on students is extreme and should never happen, especially in schools. But they also want to smooth things over with law enforcement and put this SRO controversy behind them before the elections.
Kids don't want police officers to hold them face down on the ground. Kids don't want school to be a place where they are traumatized. Kids don't want to get hurt.
Simon's a sixth grader who describes himself as autistic. He appeared at a news conference hosted by the Solutions Not Suspension Coalition.
Seems like you have to make a choice whether you are going to listen to cops or to kids.
The legislature's on a fast track to pass an updated SRO bill that would set up a model policy for how SROs operate in schools and would clarify that school resource officers can use reasonable force to prevent violence.
It legalizes specifically prone restraint by saying that this model policy must include a duration for how long prone restraint can happen. That's what this policy is.
The coalition believes students have been left out of the conversation, so they brought some to the Capitol.
I shouldn't walk into school and be like, am I going to see my friend being held on the ground? That shouldn't be a thing.
And as someone with an SRO in my own high school, this puts fear in my heart, knowing that my peers could fall victim to this lethal and unnecessary restraint.
I was in middle school. I saw not necessarily SRO, but a liaison put a kid on the ground. For what? Can you give me a good reason why that is a good thing to do?
Republicans say the prone restraint issue has been blown out of proportion, considering the lack of data on how often it's used.
I heard over and over and over that if you want school resource officers in schools, that you must be for choking kids. At a very basic level, that's insulting. There are a number of educators on both sides of the aisle that choose to go into education because we want to love and serve kids.
I was coming to teacher.
The coalition points to an incident caught on video at St. Paul Central High back in 2016, back when St. Paul still had SRO officers.
He went into the wrong door, wasn't supposed to. SRO grabbed him up. He's screaming for help. He's placed down. I worked with this student afterwards. And like, again, today he's in his 20s and he's still traumatized by the experience.
This was a bill that was written and sponsored by people that do not want school resource officers in the school. When we look at the groups, the Solutions Not Suspension Coalitions, they don't want law enforcement, SROs in the school.
This isn't a discussion about SROs being in schools. That's a discussion for another day. Right now, we are discussing what are they allowed to do.
The bill passed its first committee yesterday with only Democrats voting in favor. Republicans still aren't happy, especially because the post board, the police officer standard and training, would be in charge of writing the final version of the SRO model policy. And that board's members are appointed by the governor. Jana?
I see. So the implication that if they're appointed by a Democratic governor, it's not going to be a fair shake?
That's pretty much what they're saying, yes.
Okay. And so where do you think this is going to go? Is this going to be the topic that we hear about day after day after day and that something gets done, or is this going to drag all the way to May?
I don't know. It's, 3 hearings this week, and Melissa Hortman, House Speaker, wants to put it on the floor next week for a floor vote, tracking along in the Senate too. So it might be over pretty soon. And that's why these groups are trying to get their voices heard now before it's too late.
All right. Thanks so much, John.
Interesting.
Oh, hey, I was just going for a drive.
Hey, I was going for a drive. Yeah, so interesting. And they say there isn't data, right? And that's the part that really confuses me, because there is a lot of data out there. And maybe not how often in each situation that, prone restraint is used. But I do believe that by looking at the data and statistics that throughout states, that there is a lot of data that refers to prone restraints in the the effects that it causes, the things that it does, and when it had. The only thing that what's missing is what type of situations is it being used for? Is it being used at the imminent threat of danger? Is it being used to stop somebody from, harming or maiming somebody else? Or is it being used um, in mental health situations? Is it being used in crisis situations? Um, I guess that's a lot of the things that we should really be asking, and I don't think it is. One thing that even just talking to parents that have kids on IEPs or having their kids have behavioral issues, and to see that how some of these kids are treated and how they get stereotyped or they get named um, as bad kids, and then that follows them. You know what I'm saying? They're just already labeled, and I believe for me that is a problem because it goes down the road, and people see that, okay, so look at little Timmy. Why is he acting like that? Okay, we got to get him. Instead of just looking at it and seeing that maybe, yeah, he's going through something, but maybe it's not what everything that he's ever has had to deal with. It might be something different. And they don't look at that because all they see is this big old kid who has a history of violence. And the first thing that they want to do is to be able to subdue that violence, right? But why is it that a prone restraint? If it's something that is, an officer was just convicted, right? And we've seen numerous payouts over the prone and restraints. Why would we first write legislation to ban it and then repeal that ban and then to reallow it? What does that show us? I can tell you right now that it definitely makes me not want to go out and vote Democrat, because why would I vote for somebody that is continually says one thing but does another right there in front of your face, where and then having the feel to go protest, right? Protest for what? That's why I literally protest for what anymore, because how can we stand with people that won't call out their friends? They'll go have drinks, and they'll go do this, they'll go do that. But when it comes time to call out their friends, they don't do that. They're not calling out Cedric. They're not calling out Bobby, right? You see the media getting ripped. You see certain people that are talking about certain things, like Reverend Tim Christopher, like Marcus, like me, like Brian, like others that are talking about the fraudulent behaviors, the scamming, of how they use religion, how just so many things, and then they call us hateful. Oh, y'all are racist. You're this. You're homophobic. Damn, like is the truth that much of scary to be when anything that you come out and you tell anything about the truth, right? Just like last night when Rev and Elliot um, were live and they were talking about the two genders, and I could just like, oh, they're about to tear Rev ass up. But at the end of the day, there is only two. We're taught there's only two genders, right? And woman. Now, when they want to get into, we're not scientists. I'm not a scientist, right? Most of us aren't scientists. So when they literally want to go the chromosome route, hey, it is what it is. It doesn't mean that we dislike you. No, no. Because at the end of the day, I will tell you right now that I live my life under God's law, not anybody else's, right? I followed God's footsteps, and to see the fact that we literally, God said, "Thou shalt not lie," but yet these people lie to us all the time, and we fall for it. We believe it, we give into it, and why? Why? Why do we give into it? That's what I will never understand, because I literally look at all these people out here that are endorsing candidates, promoting candidates, and to see all the things that they have done, scams, fraudulent behaviors. And it's like, how are we ever going to get anywhere if we keep on allowing the bullshit? If we're not going to sit here and hold these people accountable, right? Because we have routes, we have ways of fighting back. But nobody, it seems like a lot of people don't want to do that route. They would rather go talk at empty buildings. They would rather bring their ass out in the streets and do all of that instead of actually figuring out solutions, figuring out how can we get rid of this homelessness problem, right? How can we get rid of this gun violence? How can we get rid of this homelessness? How can we make our education better? How can we make our public safety better instead of everything being about politics? And that sounds so condescending and hypocritical, because at the end of the day, I'm going to sit here and tell y'all that politics is the problem, but then tell y'all in the same breath, in the same sentence, to go vote. Honestly, that's the only way that I feel like, if you want your voice to be heard, and honestly, it probably won't be heard, right? But that's what democracy gives us. That's what it was written for. And we have to take advantage of that, especially as being Minnesota made legislation to make felons to be able to go vote. I hope today you guys make your voices heard. I hope that if you got your voting rights back, that you make your voice heard today. And I know it's just a primary, but that does matter. You know what I'm saying? Let's show the rest of the world, the rest of the country, the rest of America, that we believe in democracy. We believe in the freedom to vote. We believe in making our voices heard. And I think today is an opportunity for us to do that, and to do it loud and proud, to put Minnesota on the map for something good for once. Let's get out and vote and make this the most tallied votes for a primary, right? Because it does matter. It does matter, right? Because I'm tired of seeing these mothers, right? I'm tired of seeing these. I'm sick and tired of seeing these mothers, right? And as you should be too. I'm tired of seeing the stories on the news. I'm tired of seeing the stories. Every time I get on Twitter, it's something about police doing this, a lynching there, something going on in the jail, a black man dying in jail, a black man being lynched. It's always something, but yet I don't ever hear any solutions. We'll get on here and argue because we care more about, if we say all day, we don't give a fuck who a motherfucker fucking, but we're so quick to call him a faggot. Right? Right? How does that get anywhere? You've already found an issue to be divided on because you don't like gay people. Right? So you'll call him a faggot. Or if you're debating or you're getting into a civil discourse with, let's say, a Mexican or somebody of another nationality, you're quick to call him a kike. You're quick to call him a wetback. For what? All for what our Constitution gives us, freedom of speech, for voicing their opinion. Like, I will never understand that. And we get angered over words, right? We get angered over words, but not actions. And to me, that still blows my mind. It makes me wonder of what kind of people are we, right? When we get upset more over verbiage than actual actions, right? Of people's actions. I really want to understand that, right? Because I see all of these tweets and posts on Facebook and Instagram about the white boy wearing a niggas for Trump shirt, but y'all don't literally get mad about black people stealing from black people in the name of loved ones that have died at the hands of the police, right? And then have been convicted. So what is that? What is that showing us, right? I will never. That's why I sit here and I look at a lot of people funny as hell because they get up and say one thing, their words say one thing, but their actions say something totally different. And it's like, how can you go to sleep at night knowing that you're a piece of shit? Knowing that you lie to people every day, you get up and you got to put on a smile and get up and just lie to people every day. Walls, Keith Ellison, Mary Marjorie, Latrice Vitaw, all of them, Jeremiah Ellison, Elliot Payne. Like, I wonder, how does it feel? Because we're quick to confront each other, but not the people that are actually causing the harm and the pain and the traumas in our communities. They allow it. Look at our legislation. They're just, what's crazy is they want to strengthen gun laws, right? But then want to make the sentencing less. They want to get rid of the 5-year minimum, right? If you're found with a felon in gun possession. Why would you do that? Why? Why would you do that? You already are barely want to charge people already as it is with this shit. Why would you make it easier for people to come out here with felons with guns and knowing that there should be some kind of minimum, right? To show people that we're done playing, and yet they don't do that. They don't do that. They get out here and get slaps on the wrist. The same thing when it comes to the drugs, right? Because you could be out here killing people all day and night. You barely see anybody getting charged. If you're white, you can drink and drive and hit somebody, go home, tell them it was your twin, and not go to jail. Be charged, but not have to sit in jail. That makes no sense to me. But that is our justice system. And yet we don't even fight to change it. We don't even fight to educate ourselves on how to change it. How can we make it better for our kids? Do people, because I hear a lot of people say that they do this for the youth, right? If you're doing it for the youth, why are you not paying attention to the legislation? I really want, I ask this to a lot of people, right? If you're out here for the youth, how are you not paying attention to the legislation? If you're doing this for the future, how are you not paying attention to the policies? How are you not paying attention to the legislation and the bills that are being introduced, that are being debated when it comes to our kids, when it comes to their education, right? Because I can sit there and ask people that all day. Well, I'm not worried about that. Well, then stop saying you're out here for the kids if your only thing that you're voting on is immigration, because that has nothing to do with our kids, their futures, right? We got to do something now, because if we're sitting here worried about immigration, and I'm gonna tell you right now, right? And I still won't get it, but I want people to answer this, right? There's nothing that he's not going to close the border like that. You guys are idiots if you think he's totally going to close our border. You guys are dummies. That's not possible. That's not possible. Look at any executive order that has closed our border. It hasn't closed it fully. There's always caps on it. There are quotas. Y'all gotta wake up, man. So that's why I get tired of people saying they're a one-issue voter. The fuck out of here. That doesn't make any sense because our communities have tons of issues. We shouldn't just be voting on one issue when it comes to our community because then we're ignoring every fucking thing else. We're ignoring everything else. We're ignoring the shitty education system, right? Because people don't want to have those conversations. We're fully funding police departments that aren't even fully staffed, right? Our school systems, our teachers, we have fully damn near, I would say, our school districts are better staffed than our police departments. But we make sure that the police department is fully funded, even though they're not fully staffed. But yet we expect these teachers to, and here's the thing of it is, because I want people to understand this, right? If people looked at how funding is broken down and allocated for mental health, for education, for public safety. So when you even look at the difference of taking care of somebody, because our tax dollars go somewhere. They just don't just sit there. No, they go somewhere, right? So it's like $48,000 to house an inmate every year in the Department of Corrections, right? But on probation, it's damn near double that. Why do you think we have so many people on probation? Because that shit pays. That shit pays, just like going to, like, let's say, mental health facilities. Our psych centers, that shit pays. It pays. That's why there isn't no solutions to better people's lives. Because when they're fucked up is when they get paid the most, when the state gets paid the most. When we're the most fucked up, right? They want motherfuckers to be rock bottom. They want us to be sit there and begging and pandering, right? Because why isn't there any rent control? They talk about rent caps. They talk about affordable housing. What is affordable when we're going by the average median income, right? I want people to remember that. They're going by something that we don't even see in a 5-year span sometimes, right? I want people to think about that. That's what they go off. That's what our rents are based off of a margin of people that live different lives, right? And I want people to understand that. And most people won't because they're like, well, I don't understand what you're meaning. Yes, rents are based, affordable housing is based on average median income. That's what they go off of. And 9 times out of 10, most people don't even make anywhere near that. So when they say going off 30% of your income, or they're saying this, that shit is different for everybody. We literally need a different tiered affordable housing because everybody's affordability is different. That's why people, it's so, you know what's crazy is, and why I say what's so scary about all of this is the fact that the price of living in a metropolitan urban area is so expensive, right? So expensive. And yet they don't want to pay us, right? So what they're doing is, and that's what somebody asked me the other day, how did I feel about artificial intelligence? And I said, for me, I feel like Black people are being left behind with it. I think they're more scared of it than not. And I said they shouldn't be because we are going to get left behind, and we can learn so much from chat, from artificial intelligence, especially when it comes to researching history. Because this is the one thing that what people don't understand, what people aren't talking about is chat GPT, artificial intelligence, is basically Google on steroids. It's Google on steroids. You literally have this, it has information that Google doesn't even have because it's archived information. So it can literally give you sources. It's not going to be able to give you an exact address, but it literally can tell you where to go look in the Library of Congress, if it's in historical centers, it will give you all that information. And all you have to go, that's how I found that lynching in Red Wing, right? And then people called me a liar until I posted the article, the source of where they could go read it for themselves, right? That's how you shut people down, is you tell them where to go look for it at. And that's what I did. And nobody ever said anything more about it. And nobody said anything more about it. Just like I put a post in this group in Red Wing called Red Wing Convo. And I just come to find out that there's an individual, Mr. Park, is from Red Wing, graduated high school. So I put in there, that's something that I didn't know. Even doing my research, I've never heard this guy's name brought up in any of, even doing with Jeremiah Patterson, with William Carville, with Lucius, with the guy, with Hubbard, any of them. None of them. I never heard this guy's name come up. Never even seen it come up. And I'm like, why? But then I seen the work that he did. Right? I seen the work, who he worked with, Booker T. Washington. I seen that he did work it, from 1905 to 1914. He was at the Tuskegee Institute with Booker T. So I understand why this man isn't spotlighted and talked about. Why the Red Wing school system doesn't talk about him, which they should. And at the end of the day, I haven't done enough research about him to know. I know he does play a major part in how race relations in America. I do know that he had a lot to do with some policies that are still probably in effect today and are used today. So, we can't go forward without knowing our past. We got to understand where we come from. And that's where I feel like a lot of people bypass it. I think we're so quick to forget. They want us to forget about the past instead of learning from it, because ain't shit changed. Come on, we have to hold them accountable. If we're going to get any type of change, because at the end of the day, we're doing this for nothing. I'm going to tell you right now how I literally feel, and I'll be 100% honest, is I feel like a sucker. And every black person in Minnesota should feel like a sucker right now. If you voted Democrat, you should feel like a punk bitch. And you should be like, why am I continually doing this to my family? Why am I doing this to my kids? Because they sit there and they look at us in the face, will come inside the black church, will come over and pander to our black leaders, right? Dangle money in front of them, all in the name of accountability and justice and truth and transparency. Really? And we fall for it year after year after year after year. And our communities show it, right? Our communities show it. Because when all they did this and banned prone restraint in schools, they did that in the name of George Floyd. So why are we continually trying to live through somebody's legacy that you guys keep on slapping in the face? Because I want to say this, Sir Major, y'all getting mad over a comedian, David Lucas, saying something about George Floyd. But what about these punk ass politicians that keep on doing things in George Floyd's name? Oh, but you know what? Never mind, because you do the same thing. Never mind it. Never mind. It's crazy. How can you go to ask somebody to? That's what I never understood. Is how are you sticking up for George Floyd and you were out here scamming on his name? You were out here scamming on his name. That's the crazy part of all of this shit, man. People have literally lied to America and got famous off of this shit. I know so many people in Minnesota that claim they knew people, they were their best friends, or that they were their uncle. All for what? Then for the name of fame. That's what's crazy. They'll say they were the father of the year. They'll say they were the best motherfucking father out there, knowing damn well they ain't even seen their son. Didn't even know where he was. Let truth be told. Let truth be told. Let truth be told. Let truth be told. They'll say they're the father of the year, knowing damn well they ain't even have no type of relationship with their son. Didn't even know what the fuck he was going through. I bet you people wonder, like, who the fuck he talking about? Motherfuckers that are close to me know. People that are close to me know who I'm talking about. How they'll say they care, but at the end of the day, all this shit was. And what's crazy is I've seen so many people that have lost family members, and that people who literally do it for the fame, they do it for the 15 minutes, and that's sick. Well, that's the type of world and society that we live in now, is that people want their 15 minutes of fame. They want their clout. They want that thrill. They want that token, that award, right? Is that what all of this is about? Or is this about change? Is this about being on some flyer for Black History Month? Is this about being on some panel? Is this about winning the NAACP Image Award? Is this about winning Black Woman of the Month? Black Woman of the Day? What is it about? Is it about awards? Or it is about the actual impact that we can feel in these streets, that we can see in our communities? Is it about educating one another so that because I thought it was when you know better, you do better. Or is it not that way, right? Because that's not what I'm finding out. That's not what I'm seeing in real time, is that when we know better, we do better. That's not what I'm seeing from these elected officials. That's not what I'm seeing by these policies, right? Because everybody want to talk about out here, do the right thing. Well, when are y'all going to do the right thing? I see the Department of Human Services, their Twitter page going crazy, and nobody paying attention. Nobody paying attention to the connections. Nobody's paying attention to the fraud. Nobody's paying attention to Deanna Winter's article. Nobody's paying attention to Bill Glanz because they don't want you to. And I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong, Bill. But they're not paying attention because you know why? Because chaos makes money. Chaos is big, 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 big money. They want a world of chaos. They want a world where we live crazy. Like running around with chickens with our heads cut off. You just had a fire last night in Michigan at a distribution that had CBD, hookah, vapes, all types of shit. And they're saying that it was set on purpose. But yet, then you see reports of, again, coming out of Florida with the damn plane with the green lights. And it's like, what the fuck is really going on? So I want y'all to know, if y'all see fires going on in Florida, just remember where that shit came from. Just remember where that shit came from. Because they definitely trying to do something. Shit, I think it did mine too like that. Oh, damn, it did. Wow, that's crazy. Something going on with Facebook. Oh, shit. What is really going on? I guess me too. Wow. Yeah, me too, dog. I'm locked out too. Yeah, I ain't even saying if it's too. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what the hell going on, but I'm locked out of my Facebook too. Crazy. Yeah, damn, that's insane. I don't even know what the hell happened. Yeah, let me get off here so I can try to deal with that, man. Y'all have a great Tuesday, and I'll be back tomorrow. So, win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well. Y'all have a great one.
Q9, my futon.
Urban conservative.